And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because we like beating up on people because they're dumb. They're not dumb. They just didn't really learn well enough. Maybe they're dumb. It's hard to tell sometimes. I mean, there's this big line where POE intersects with all this, and some people get that.
Part of this is to answer. People are just dumbasses.
Yes. Part of this is to answer some of the questions of why. Part of this is also to answer sometimes the journey is more important than the destination, isn't it? I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin, Tribble all over the place. SHUJIN. You can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. This is my bottle of drink for tonight. There are many bottles like it in my pantry, but this one tonight, this one's mine. For those of you that are just listening, yes, I've got one of my bottles of wine from Woodbury Vineyard out here. I have been very behind in my drinking this season, and I need to kind of step up my game because I have not had anything to drink since September, and that's not good. I think we're going to see how well I can kill this before the end of the night. Let's go ahead and introduce you to everybody who's freezing their collective tuchuses off. Top left-hand corner over there outside of Calgary. What is it right now, Dalan? Minus 26?
Give me 1 second.
All I remember is that it's almost as cold over in Yellowknife for you.
Yeah. Right now it is minus 28 Celsius.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Same as Yellowknife right now. And that's Celsius, folks. And remember, for those of you that don't speak Celsius on my side of the border in the U.S., negative Celsius is burr. It's just degrees of how much does your face hurt at that point. Just north of me, outside of Toronto. Good morning, Heretic Woman.
Good morning, and I'm 10 degrees warmer at minus 18.
Yeah, you and me both, I think.
Yeah. And I thought that was damn cold.
Well, it is. Midwest, the U.S., good morning, Bridget. And how cold is it right now?
Minus 13.
And you're also doing Celsius, right?
Yes.
Good, because
the real temperature is 8. It's supposed to get down to 0. So yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be minus 17.
Fortunately, nowhere near where they got dumped with 5 feet of snow in Pennsylvania, down in Pittsburgh. Hi, Joey.
Yeah, I had to drive in that. Best part is, my alternator is apparently going.
Oh no!
Because we got back in after grocery shopping and it wouldn't start.
Go fund me.
Yeah, something like that. Speaking, since he went ahead and chimed in, from just outside of Washington, D.C., where apparently they don't believe in it because, it's cold today, so global warming isn't a thing for the second time. Good morning on Renault Tech.
Well, it was, but then I found out that Mr. Oompa Loompa Mussolini fired all his staff, that advisors regarding AIDS and HIV, not just here in the country, but also for things going on in the world, because, who needs knowledge?
Yeah.
Okay, so that wasn't fake news.
No.
Damn.
The only reason I say it is because I honestly, when I saw that, I thought, somebody's blowing this out of proportion.
You want something else that's not fake news? School systems are in such a tizzy over the crap that Trump is pulling with this whole claiming everything to be fake news, that they're actually starting to put together programs to teach kids about media and how to spot falsities in the media, how to spot discrepancies, how to spot when you're being led down a particular thought path versus thinking for yourself, things like that. So, yeah, there is some good that Trump has done so far, but only by doing lots of bad things.
Well,
you know what, though?
Point number one, if your source begins with Fox, then it's fake.
Oh, I work on a Navy base. I can spot the Fox News people and the non-Fox News people. They're miles apart.
Yeah.
And don't use Breitbart as a source, especially during court hearings for evidence.
And whatever you do, and there's some hidden meaning to this, but whatever you do, if you're going to try to do something of an anthropological bend to it, do not use the Daily Stormer as your main source of information, because that will go off like a dirty nuclear bomb on the internet.
I've already had people try to tell me that Snopes is or Snoops, or however you want to pronounce it, is fake news.
Oh, I see people going around, and it's like, well, gee, maybe I should Snopes that too, and make sure that
Hey, Infowars is fake news too.
Oh, hell yeah.
In fact, anything that doesn't agree with Fox. Yeah, but what's funny about that is sometimes Fox doesn't even agree with Fox. That one kind of trips me up when that happens.
The whole thing is turning into this gigantic media Ouroboros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, I'm showing off right now for everybody who's watching a graphic that has made the rounds several times over. It's basically a news pyramid, if you will, that gives you a general idea as to where various different news agencies kind of reside between being partisan, either left or right, and being trustworthy, and more trustworthy and less trustworthy. And there are a number of them that are very, very good to be choosing from. And of the ones that are listed on this group, the Associated Press, Reuters, Bloomberg, ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, NPR, Politico, Wall Street Journal, there are a number of them that are very, very well regarded. And to the surprise of many, I'm sure, Al Jazeera is even in that list of group that does go and do the legwork.
I am a big fan of Reuters. Even though I'm not much of a conservative, I'm still a fan of them.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. But Vanity Fair, I think that skew is off. That should be more opinion. Because I've seen some articles come out of Vanity Fair that have just made me go, yeah.
I'm sorry. If your main thrust is fashion, you don't deserve to be in the news category.
I think the one thing that catapulted Vanity Fair to the heights that it's known of, at least the second you hear it, is the late great Christopher Hitchens, who used to write for them.
Yeah, okay.
But even then, it was all editorial.
You know who's missing from that list is the Young Turks.
Well,
no, I would. Sorry, I would actually posit that they don't even qualify.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I used to actually listen to them a lot. I used to watch them a lot. I used to listen to their podcasts and everything like that. But I don't know. I think they, from what I've seen from other places, they do tend to skew things quite badly.
Yeah, but they're quite open about that.
Well, it's like, oh, we don't like to mention the names of terrorists unless they're white. I've actually seen that. Where it's just like, that's a little bit too biased for me.
Mm.
But then again, I'm more of a facts and figures kind of guy.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't give two raisin-filled shits about editorials and opinions. What happened? How many people died? Let's talk about motivations afterwards.
Right.
Let me see reporters that actually do legwork. Better yet, let me find articles that actually have proper spelling, punctuation, and grammar.
Thank you. I'm with you completely on that one.
So I think we've kind of done the 5-minute freestyle on multiple fronts here. We haven't even hit it yet.
Oh no.
On an average day. This is the end of the year freestyle, so this has got to be over the top. But I mean, on an average day, we kind of nailed several fronts already.
That's true.
So I think we're off to a good start. So let's go while we're ahead, end the show with the 5-minute, and we're done.
All right, good. Thanks for being with us, everybody. It's been nice having you all here. I've still got way too much bottle left to go through, so we ain't done yet.
We're not.
Well, just get yourself a funnel.
Get down.
Just get yourself a funnel, and you'll be all good.
Oh no! We do not talk about the funnel.
I'm doing this kind of the same way that Uncle Kage does. When my drink is done, I'm done tonight. And with any luck, by the time my drink is done tonight, I'll be done tonight.
Well, when your drink is done, I got a bottle of vodka over here for you. And some rum.
No. No, and I'll tell you why. Because Putin should never be drunk. Some people understand that. You won't.
He's not wrong about what kind of grain it
podcast.
is. You're not wrong about what kind of grain it is. So, I give you that.
Yeah.
Our new tagline is, we're not leaving till we're heaving.
Oh. No.
Okay, we'll hold on to that one for later. Meantime, as always, those of you that are watching,
Like her hair.
thank you. Stop it. Stephanie and Trippin, do see you guys over there. Thank you very much. If you are watching live with us, of course, please, by all means, take advantage of it. If you would prefer to hang out over in the Discord chat area, that's fine. I've got that up on the screen for myself, too. And, of course, you could always live tweet us at Holy Crap TV. I would have gotten Holy Crap the Vlogcast, but apparently Twitter doesn't allow that, although you can have more than 40 whatever the hell character.
Yeah, they've gone beyond that now.
Have they now?
And you might be able to change that, because I couldn't put Beyond the Trailer Park as the name on my Twitter account there, and now I went back to tweak something a couple of weeks ago and found that I can actually put the full name now.
Huh. I'll have to check that out.
Dark Matter 2525 did a best of his own comedy compilation for 2017. Comes out to 12 and a half minutes.
Yeah.
I was actually just going to say, wait a minute, Dark Matter actually released something this year?
Yes, he
He
has.
released a couple really good things this year.
He just did a compilation with Logic as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, Logic as in the rapper?
No,
No,
Logic as in a YouTuber.
Yes. Canadian YouTuber.
Yeah, he wears a pair of 3D glasses, a black stocking, covering up his face, top hat. Really goes after the anonymity. And I've actually watched him a couple of times. He does come up with some pretty good content.
He likes to focus on Kent Hovind too.
Maybe we should post him in the links below when we do all the reference stuff.
Sure.
Maybe we will. So we're going to go ahead and get everything rolling over here. I did tell everybody that, yes, I did get my new processor into my computer. That is for another time that I will yell and scream and rant and rave about, because I've been putting together computers for a long time. I thought all this proprietary shit was done in the 90s when, the company that made computers with little cow designs on the boxes, I thought when they went out of business, this whole proprietary crap fest would have gone out the window, but no. Thanks, guys.
We all did. And then I started looking at the stuff being produced by Dell and HP.
Yeah, well, we shall see. Anyway,
next time I go to the computer store around here, I'm going to take my camera. I'm going to send you guys some pictures of some of the towers I'm seeing these days. And then we'll talk proprietary.
Yeah, fair enough. And for those of you that might be looking right now and wondering why I've got my reading glasses on, my contacts are a little bit on the dry side. And when that happens, I have a little bit of a harder time focusing. And believe it or not, this actually helps. It's not a matter that I'm getting old. It's that I'm getting old, and so my contact lenses, which is why I'm trying to hydrate with,
right out of the bottle.
Wait. Here we go. We got a baseline pitch. As that pitch gets lower and lower, my alcohol content will get higher and higher. You'll figure this part out. Anyway, so let me go ahead and get tonight's freestyle open. And I did warn the guys ahead of time that this is going to be a little bit of uncomfortable. And I know it. And I want it on the record that tonight's freestyle is strictly and specifically my own. This is me talking, no one else on the panel. They don't know anything about this, and the people who are involved know nothing about this. So with that caveat in place, your 5-minute freestyle starts now. Easy. It's easy as Sunday morning is of course the first thing that comes to mind when I was writing that title up. It's easy to go ahead and pick on people when there's the anonymity of the internet in place, when you're not actually face-to-face and you're typing stuff, or maybe if you're talking stuff, but you're talking to a camera, which, hi, I see you right there, your camera right there. Those of you that are not watching right now, you got lucky, because otherwise these people just saw what my fingerprint looks like, and it's not a pretty picture. Let me tell you what's not a pretty picture. There is a, you know what, I'm going to, if you guys want to go and try and find it for yourselves, you can go ahead and do it. Just this past week, Callie Wright had put up some, I believe it was from Callie's timeline, what seemed to have been a news article. The veracity of such, I'm not quite sure about, because I didn't investigate it, because that wasn't the important part to me. That devolved immensely, just absolutely devolved into people yelling and screaming for people to be put to death. No lie. Put to death. Castrated. You know, whatever means. The article was about the possibility, and I forget which country it was, supposedly, somewhere in Europe, the idea of giving people who have been child molesters or potentially child molesters, the term had been used, of course, pedophile, and we know how I feel about using that term instead of child molester, to have basically surrogates, animatronics, call it what it is, a doll, a machine, in order to have something to take out their urges on. And there were a lot of people who were just saying, why? Why pander to these people? Why not just put a bullet in their head and be done with it? Why not just castrate them and be done with it? Why not just lop off the offending pieces and just be done with it? And you know what I said? I said, I support this idea. And I think it should even go further. It should be a matter of that people who have the potential, who recognize it in themselves, should have the ability, should feel it's safe enough to actually come to somebody in a professional capacity and say, look, I might be a problem to somebody, and I would like help. I would like to have a mental health professional help me through with whatever counseling, with whatever drugs to kind of help me through and deal with what might be potentially an imbalance in my brain. And if this is something that I can go ahead and get my rocks off of and not hurt an actual live human being, this would be a really good idea. So I think this is a good idea for somebody if this is a real thing. And people were still screaming and yelling for simply a death penalty. And they were not even going after the meat and potatoes, if you will, of what the article is saying. Here is a possibility. We could use surrogates for these people who might otherwise be harming real live people. And all I could say is, guys, think about it this way. If it's a choice between somebody feeling uncomfortable because this kind of feels kind of weird versus a real life person having their life, their psyche destroyed because somebody didn't want to feel squishy and weird about, you know, a lifelike looking animatronic. What the seriously, what the absolute F on the whole thing? If it's going to be a choice between a child and a machine, I'm sorry. If you've completely missed the point of whatever this article is supposed to be, what the hell are you actually calling yourself a skeptic for? Look at what the damn thing is supposed to be all about. Because why not? Why get in the way of something that's going to prevent harm that's going to cost what? A couple of kilograms of latex? Really, people? Priorities. Just priorities. It's episode 194 on the docket, Your Honor. There goes the judge. If you looked over the information about tonight's show, you would have seen the article from The Atlantic that I specifically linked in because, you know, ex-Judge Roy Moore, now Citizen Moore, is no more, and he has gotten his absolute last-ditch effort to try and get a do-over, a mulligan, all over again.
Yeah, he wanted more.
He did, and he didn't get it. And you know why? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking through tonight because, oh, you know, I keep telling you guys, I don't want this show to be all about my country, but I can use it as a really bad example on a lot of different things. So before we get into
more today, I'm more.
Sort of. So before we get to it, by the way, just joined us just as we got started over here from Paris. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning.
Glad you're able to make it.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit late to the take today.
That's all right. Like I keep telling everybody, so long as everybody's okay, I don't care. You made it. That's cool. At least you made it earlier than Heretic Woman did last week. So
yeah.
but that's a whole other thing. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, go watch last week's episode. No, seriously, go and look at last week's episode. It was a lot of fun.
We need the views.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, so Heretic Woman,
Yes.
we did not get the opportunity last week to kind of talk through anything, and I don't have any new information other than we're looking forward to. Well, actually, there is a piece I may or may not have told you about, but of course we know full well that there's still the possibility that the upcoming prince may pardon him.
Yes. Yes. There is, and thank you to Beth for bringing this to my attention. There has been, unfortunately, a hoax story going around saying that Rafe had been released and has caused NSAF quite a bit of grief and stress. So, yeah, whoever did that, I'm sorry, I'm going to use up an F-bomb. Fuck you.
Fair enough.
But yeah, that's false. If anybody sees that.
Yeah, there was also another news story. I don't know if you'd seen it. That I forget who it was, but somebody in the Canadian government had suggested that NSAFs should get in touch with her father-in-law to see about penning a writ to ask for a pardon. And did you hear about that one?
No.
Yeah, short version, to bring everybody back up to speed. Again, I've forgotten who it was exactly, but that wouldn't work because her father-in-law was one of the ones who was calling for Rafe to be arrested.
And who tried to force a divorce because and I think it was that side of the family that also tried to take the children away at some point too.
Joy.
Yes, but the extended families of both sides are not really allies.
Sorry, I was starting to type something over in the guys in the chat. I'll get to that in a second. So anyway, at the moment, other than, the possibility for getting a reprieve from the prince, which we're still hopeful for, but has not yet happened. As of the recording of tonight's show, this is now 5 years, 6 months, 14 days since Rafe was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Thoughts and our hopes are still with you and your family. We're still hoping. Now, before I completely move on, what had come up over in the live chat, and I want to make sure that I kind of get it on the record. Stephanie had said, Shujin, if this is a sexual need, fine. If this is about power, then no amount of dolls will fulfill it. Having the dolls available does remove all excuses, though. I understand that, and that's part of the reason why I said people, if they felt that they could proactively say, I am going to need help, I need professional assistance, I want this not to have happen, that's the big piece about it. That's what I would want. Because let's face it, if somebody knows that they are facing a crowd that's going to put a bullet in their brain versus a crowd that's going to help make sure that they have as fulfilling a life as possible and minimize as best as possible any possibility of, doing wrong, and you want that to happen too, that's what I would like most. Do I think that it's a 100% guarantee for everybody? I know that's not possible, but I would still like to believe that there is overall good, that people will do their best to, in the long run, do the right thing.
There's a lot of people that worry that whenever something's created to help give somebody any form of release, that there's going to automatically be an escalation. Part of that I blame on things like CSI and all those other police shows where they say, oh, the bad guy's always going to escalate. The bad guy's always going to escalate. It starts off here, 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 and here. And sometimes they're close. Sometimes they're way off the chart, whatever. But people watch this stuff and they think, oh, this is how life works. It's like, listen, I've been robbed at gunpoint, okay? I've had a gun pressed to the back of my skull for the money that was in a register at a gas station, okay? One of the gunmen was so hyped up on drugs that the other guys had to take the time to control him. They forgot to rob the bloody safe, okay? One of the idiots left their ungloved full handprint on the counter, okay, where they pushed down to hop over it. When I told the police about it, they told me to get out of the way and let them do their job, right? Guess what they had the next couple minutes? They had donuts and coffee sitting on the spot I had told them about.
Oh.
So much for fingerprints. Okay?
Damn.
That's real life, people, not the shit you see on TV. Will some people escalate? Maybe. If a doctor were here, they could probably give us a better response to that. But you know what? For just as many people that may escalate, you could reasonably come to the idea that there's going to also be a similar amount of people who would not escalate. That mechanism would help prevent them from taking advantage and actually harming another human being. You won't know until you try and actually study the statistics of it, though. And putting a bullet in somebody's brain negates that entire process.
And I have to wonder now that you've said that, Tech, because I don't watch TV anymore, I'm left wondering, now that this particular article, this concept is kind of in the wind, i.e. it's out there and exists now, how long before CSI actually does do an episode on it and actually does do the very same kind of fear-mongering torpedoing that they're so infamous for doing for everything else?
I got one word for you. Yiffing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly where I was going with it because, well, I'm afraid it's, freaking obvious. The thing, yeah, you're right. Sensationalization. Sensationalism? Yeah,
It's fake
Close
news.
enough. Go with it. It's a new Canadianism. Go with it.
No, this type of rampant fear-mongering in the media and, shock value, shock and awe, everything's a conspiracy. And yeah, I am actually trying to segue into the meat of the show with this. But the point is, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't even know if it's going to be effective. And furthermore, having looked at some of these articles about sex robots these days, I'm not entirely sure what generation they're at right now, but I think we still need at least 2 more iterations before this could even become a thing that could elicit the same reaction neurochemically that a child abuser or like Stephanie said, if it's about power, well, then the big thing is, can subjugating a robot with a relatively convincing AI program to, try to put up a fight or try to resist or, do whatever the guy wants to do in order to, whatever the offender wants them to do in order to get that dominance. To get that dominant, submissive thing going that, really gets them off. Like, is the technology there now? No, I don't think so.
No,
like I think it's progressing. Like, we could be talking 5 to 10 years out before something like this could become.
I think we could get more advancement out of it if we also took the women offenders, the adult women offenders, and had them over there and interviewed as to what it was at their predilections that made them go after little boys or little girls.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but
add to that knowledge base.
Oh, but that doesn't shock the media, and then there's other socio-cultural paradigms about that.
Yeah, the American culture doesn't want to recognize that women are predators.
Well, also it's the fact that American culture doesn't want males to seem weak.
There's that too.
Whereas notches on the bedpost of any sort for a man is a good thing. It's a badge of honor. Regardless of the fact that, they feel like crap afterwards or something. And again, this goes to American culture.
Oh, yeah.
And I know there are some parties very interested in making sure that changes. But the amount of resistance I'm seeing to that kind of change, to that shaking of the paradigm is, you got a long ways to go.
Yeah, there is definitely a long ways to go
in
all the problems in terms of the various stereotypes and sexist viewpoints on both sides of the equation, because it happens on both sides. And there's people on both sides who don't want to recognize that fact, and there's some smaller amounts of them that do recognize that fact. And we need to get those smaller groups a bigger voice and get them out there and get them working together, and for the better of one of all. But just like in this whole thing with Roy Moore, you get these people out here who have one thought process. They're either told what's right, or they're absolutely bound and determined to refuse to believe anything other possibility could be right. And so they start screaming from the rooftops, "Oh, Roy Moore won. We want to recount," and backtracking a little bit, women are always going to be the best for the children. Men are always going to be, violent offenders. And, we've got all these viewpoints that nobody wants to break outside the box and go, let's break out of the box and let's see what's actually in the box, what's outside the box, around the box. And let's take stock here, folks.
Yeah. But it comes down to my narrative.
Oh yeah, that. Right.
Yeah. So let's
news to go along with the narrative.
Yeah. So let's kind of go along with that, because that actually works as a good segue over onto this. And as an aside, by the way, TDTF, welcome. Yes, I said good evening, good morning, or whatever the hell did I say? Yeah, good evening, good morning, because over here for me, local on the eastern seaboard of the U.S., it's 40 minutes after 12 is 0040.
They're
Yes.
from Utah.
Did we welcome the Frenchman with the wonderful mustache, by the way?
Yes, we did.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Well, I don't know about you. I
found
did.
out on that little rant of mine.
It's kind of
He said his good mornings, and TDTF just said they're from Utah.
Yep.
That's a good evening.
You have my sympathies.
And I'm assuming that from the name TDTF Pod that we are in the presence of another podcaster.
Yes, that would make sense.
Yep. So welcome. So let's go ahead and use that the narrative piece. As we know full well, the special election that happened down there in Alabama way, Alabama way, was a circus. There's probably very little to contest that at this point.
Okay. Did you see the horseman, the horse
Yes.
riding? Like,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
I just want to know why somebody who's running for those positions is allowed to wear a cowboy hat and a gun.
Because you can down there. And by the way, for those of you that don't know about it, the horse has a Twitter account.
Yes.
You've got to be shitting me.
Oh,
But you know what else is really freaky about the horse? The horse's name is Sassy. Guess what else is named Sassy?
I better
More
not
in the
answer.
bedroom
What?
when he's having one of those nights.
A teen magazine that usually features barely legal girls on the cover.
Oh,
Okay, this is either just a coincidence or not.
I am going to call coincidence just because
Statistical probability, coincidence.
Yeah, I'm going to play Occam's shaving kit on this one and just say, no. This is purely a coincidence.
I hope so.
I'm going to give benefit of the doubt. I'm going to be skeptical on this until proven otherwise.
Yes.
Just a really bad choice.
I don't like Roy Moore, but I'm not willing to say that this man is that smart yet.
Well, look,
no, I don't
this
think he's that smart.
Look, this guy's got enough going against him as it already is without.
Yeah, he doesn't need that shit. He doesn't need that shit. No.
Now, if it's true, then okay. You know what? I'll be the second one to line up and drive that next nail in the coffin. And I say second because I know an awful lot of people are going to be killing each other to get to be first.
Now I have a sidetrack real quick about this whole horse with the Twitter thing. It's going to be either one of two things. It's either going to be somebody put an IoT device, an Internet of Things device, on the horse so that tracks when the horse is drinking, when the horse is eating, trotting, all that fun stuff, or somebody is live tweeting in the horse's name.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Kind of the same way.
It's the latter. Okay, yes. That's horrible.
Okay,
if it's the first one, I kind of understand that.
There's only one thing I hope above all else.
Oh God.
That Sassy doesn't have.
Why is that blinking?
I don't know. I didn't tell it to blink.
37 ways to blow a relationship, according to a guy. Well,
yeah. The only thing I'm really worried about is that Sassy might possibly have an After Dark account.
Why Luke Perry's name makes you want to buy this? It doesn't. I don't have a thing for Luke Perry. Now, Ryan Reynolds, I would go gay for Ryan Reynolds.
There, now it's stopped blinking. That was weird.
Yep.
Do you need armpit hair to be a feminist?
Wow.
That's horrible.
I'm not laughing too hard at that one.
Wow.
And
Holy.
And the tagline to that is, "And do you need to color it if you do?"
Only Florence match the drapes.
I'd like to make a donation.
Murderers.
What would you like to make a donation for?
Reforming teenage murderers. Should we bother? Oh my! What year is this from?
What's that one over there where the one person looks like they're chewing on the other person's cheek?
I'm talking, of course, about donating.
Oh, I think this says 1992. If you see where my
well, considering it's Luke Perry on there, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was just
like what would be now? Like I'm out of touch with pop culture. Would it be Justin Bieber now or something?
No, it'd be Panic at the Disco and that kind of. Don't ask me why.
I know we tried to give Justin Bieber back to Canada, but we lost that.
Here's one with Nev Campbell on the cover.
It's her party. Love rehab. How to heal when you're hurting.
Elijah Wood is looking good.
Okay, now that bottom article right there, that would be a good article for young kids. Drug alert, new date, great danger. Okay, that that's good information to get out there.
Yeah, and by the way, over there on the
just not how to get it.
Yeah, on the live chat. By the way, TDTF. Yes, that's part of the reason why I didn't switch the camera over to her. They were kind of concerned about seizure warning, and I was about to say it, but I didn't put it up while it was blinking just for exactly that reason.
Yeah, I don't know why it did that. It's never done that before.
It's okay.
Can somebody please describe to me the word prissy? I have no idea what the hell that means, and I'm from that time.
It's kind of like snooty and pretentious, but really pretty at the same time. And
okay, I know pretentious.
Yeah, I think
I'm
these
days get off my lawn.
Yeah, no, I think these days the term is a high class bitch.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Let's go with the brick. The brick works great.
Speaking of, did you guys see the footage of Trump showing up at Mar-a-Lago with all
Is that
of
where he
it? Was
flips
like
everybody the birds and like throws money up in the air and goes, haha, screw you.
no, but it was the sort of looked like a tea room or something, and it was just full. I'm like, my thought is because it was all of these rich women, like, and most of them look like they were over 50. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of wrinkly bitches. Because they were all in like their little mini dresses and they're all dressed to the nines, having their, afternoon lunch or brunch or whatever the hell it was. And they were all scrambling to go over and take a selfie with Agent Orange. And
so it's the kind of people that look just so high class. In the back, in your mind's eye, you can see their thoughts, and they're thinking, please hit me at high speed with a truck.
Well, I don't know. Like they're all like over processed looking. Like they've all, they don't actually get out of the shower and comb their own hair. They go and have, Gaston go and fix their hair, and they're all wearing their little designer dresses, and they all look over tanned and kind of wrinkly, and I don't know. I just thought it was weird.
Yes, I have more money than taste. Okay, I got it.
Yes.
Well, that's because they're not old. Well, they're the nouveau riche.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense.
The pool boy keeps the pool so clean around their houses.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Got to keep putting more chlorine in there. There's a dirty joke in there somewhere. Some people are gonna get it.
You say just drop a chunk of pure sodium in there. That'll clear it right out.
For the record, by the way, for those of you that keep score. Yep, that is
let's go down at least half an octave by this point.
Yeah. So, let me let's go ahead and get to this guy, because this. When I was reading this article, and I'm sure that you guys have had the opportunity to look it over, the article went on to talk about some of the quote unquote, and I'm pretty sure that I put it in quotes, scare quotes, legal arguments, because one would expect somebody who has held the position of judge at least once would have some idea of how to logically sort through an argument. One would expect. Now, apparently not in this particular case. Now, I admit I'm putting a little bit of onus that somebody who's in a position of authority should know what they're doing, but we know full well it isn't always the case. Case in point. Now, part of the irregularity that was put into these legal arguments, for those of you that are watching, long-time users know full well, I don't do air quotes. I don't do the air quotes. I do this because I'm sick and tired of watching people do this. Because, this is little buddy foo-foo, all right? Fuck it. Just stop it. Anyway, so one of the people that wrote for the arguments that there were problems, where they were pushing for more investigations and for a complete do-over, so that they could do this entire process all over again, was where is this guy's name? It was Richard Sharnin. Richard Sharnin. Can I call you Dick? Okay, so Richard went ahead and little Richard. You see what I did? No, whatever. That's the he is a conspiracy guy.
Oh,
he's got information about 9/11, JFK, and a whole bunch of other stuff. And he was the one who said, amongst other things, that there was, quote, overwhelming statistical proof of fraud in Jefferson County, unquote. Now, before I go any further, statistics don't prove shit.
Yep.
Okay, let's get this straight. I can statistically prove anything with the right statistics. Data can be made to lie.
Absolutely.
The language of that lie is through the use of statistics. This is something that I learned from my wife. Well, A, when she was still alive. B, when she was working as a call center manager. Because when you have to tell your client, okay, we've got this many phone calls and this percentage of them were answered within this amount of time, and this percentage were answered between this amount of time, and this is what you asked us to do, and we did it for you, and thank you very much. Pay us our bonuses now, just because we figured a way of doctoring the system a little bit so we can do that. But we got everything done just the way that you wanted it to. So.
But it's not the statistics. It's not the it's not the statistics itself. It's the people using them. And unless the statistics were taken in a biased way, which means like loaded questionnaires and things like that.
Which it's kind of hard to remove a lot of bias from the question. I mean, you can remove a significant portion of biases from questionnaires. Real simple stuff like if you're trying to figure out if somebody would prefer a man over a woman, and you say, would you like your child to be watched by a black man or a white woman? Okay, you're really stacking the deck there if you're in an area that's known for a lot of racism against black people. Okay, where if you just leave it at man versus woman, you don't load the deck. Okay, so but there's also some stuff that it's kind of hard. You can't force a particular person to think a particular way on your questionnaire. You can influence, but you can't force them to.
Well, I got a great piece for that one. Would you rather your kid be watched by a black man or a white woman? Okay, let's see. What are my choices? Neil deGrasse Tyson or that crazy white bitch in Texas that drowned 7 of her kids?
Andrea Yates.
Thank you. See, I knew somebody on the panel would get it. But I mean, the point of it is, if you leave it way open.
Yeah.
And
you can narrow the focus and narrow, but there's still going to be room for biases somewhere in there. Even if you didn't put it in there, the person you may be asking will have their own biases in their head.
Well, and it's funny you should use the black folks as an example, because that's
because all the shit that's been happening to them.
The last article that I saw about Roy Moore was that he was bitching about needing a do-over because too many black people voted.
Yeah, I found that one vaguely, not amusing, but scary as shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you think, hey, Alabamians, or however you pronounce it, half of your state just voted against your ass.
I was talking about this with Morgan, and apparently what she's hearing is there's accusations that busloads of black folks drove from Mississippi specifically to vote in Alabama. And I'm like, you have to be a registered voter in that state, you dumbass.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Show up and, hi, y'all, I'm from Alabama. Well, no, I don't have no ID that says I'm from Alabama, but I assure you I was from Alabama and I needs to vote now.
Look, it's real simple.
No, it just doesn't work that way.
When Trump was trying to say how there were Democratic voters going out and voting 2, 3, 4 times, and it turned out some Republican voters were doing that, they got caught real quick because, well, the system actually shows when that's happening.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, so yeah, try again more. Spin the wheel. See what next kind of blame game comes up.
Okay, I got one for that.
Oh, go for it.
Oh boy.
Okay, this is the article that I actually copied and pasted into the chat before the show.
Yep.
This is from Pundit Fact, or PolitiFact, actually. Sorry.
PolitiFact's fun.
Yeah, this is apparently one of their areas called Pundit Fact, and apparently it's like they measure the varying levels of bullshit when it comes to stuff. And this one here,
they got the liar pants on fire meter.
Yes, and this particular article, I'll just read off the headline here. Infowars Alex Jones wrong about Alabama Senate recount. In No Shit Sherlock News tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. So Alex Jones, he, of course, is definitely is hardcore right wing Republican.
Nut job.
Yeah, which
psychotic.
Yeah, sometimes they acknowledge him. Sometimes they wish they'd never known him. He's like that one annoying character that appears in just about every anime show that's out there. Anyways, okay, so the margin that Moore lost by was about 20,000 votes, 1.5%.
Right.
Now, a triggered recount, now you can trigger a recount if the margin is, I believe, 0.5%.
Yes, I believe
that's an automatic recount. And of course, and this is why Moore was, reaching for straws, because he wanted to do whatever he could to narrow that gap to force the recount.
Now, my understanding was is that he could have a recount still, but he has to pay for it.
Precisely. That's where I was going with it.
Yep. So he's doing a fundraiser, and that's going to be coming out of religious nut jobs.
Yeah.
Well,
but anyways,
let's be fair. Was trying to.
Yeah. Now, this article is actually from December 14th. So we're dealing with a bit of not fake news, but old news. Anyways, yeah, sorry. Watching too much Stephen Colbert. Don't judge me.
Go on.
I love Colbert. By the way, did you see Colbert's The Legend of Roy Moore?
Not yet, but I'm going after that one after the show.
It's
finish.
Beautiful.
Anyways, so Jones apparently did his own calculation, and according to him, Moore should have won.
Of course he did.
So now,
and the water's making the frogs gay too.
Yeah.
No, that's the Muslims and atheists making people gay.
Anyway.
No, the water does too, according to him.
I thought it was the lattes.
Let the man finish.
Yeah. So, anyways, apparently Alex Jones, I'm assuming here, made much of a court ruling that allowed digital copies of the paper ballots to be erased. And, of course, Jones jumped on this like a rabid dog, claiming that, saying, we're going to erase all the computer files after tonight on Wednesday morning, so there's going to be no recount. Here's the thing. So I can just see Jones doing this on Infowars, going absolutely batshit, Hulk raving mad.
He's got the purple face going on.
Yeah, looking a lot like Bill O'Reilly saying we'll do it live.
Yeah.
Just with 20 more pounds on the chin. Not that I'm going to talk, but anyways.
Thank you. I'm glad you said it, not me.
Yeah, screw you too, Baldy. Anyways,
remember that's Holy Crap the Vlogcast, 1300 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York 14222. That's not.
Dial carefully and good luck.
Fix it in post.
Oh, wasn't the whole measure to delete the electronic ballots something that the Republicans wanted?
Actually, no. She didn't lead the bit.
Okay.
But the reason that they can be deleted, so the digital files could help spot problems in voter tallies, but they aren't necessary for a recount because across the entire state of Alabama, I'm quoting verbatim here, voters vote on paper ballots. So you go into the booth, you mark with a pencil, largely because I wonder about some parts of Alabama and electricity. Sorry.
Yeah.
Those ballots are scanned and tallied, which creates the digital images Jones was talking about. But he overlooked that the original paper ballots are preserved for up to 2 years. And Alabama law is very specific on this point.
Right.
So if a recount is necessary, the ballot containers go to the inspector in charge of the recount. The recount, quote, the recount shall consist of reading the ballots through the counter, the law says. Any ballot that was counted in the original election but is rejected by the counter in the recount shall be counted by hand.
Right.
Verified Voting, a national organization focused on promoting accurate vote tallies, said Alabama, quote, has the built-in fail-safe resilience that paper ballots provide, unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So without a shadow of a doubt, a recount in Alabama could be done. And I'm going off the record here by saying, despite the fact that the digital copies that were originally designed to spot errors will be deleted after 2 days.
Yeah.
So Jones tried to use this as a platform to create a gigantic dust-up for the election, like every other, red state supporting individual, thinking, well, I can use my media power and influence, and I can sell some vitamins while I'm at it too. Honestly, I do wish his voice was a couple of octaves lower. I really do, because then he actually could look in the camera and do the whole and it would work. Oh, boss, it's all the fat guys are doing the Alex or the Alex Jones.
So now
now that I've broken Dalan.
Well, you left out the part about the deep state being behind it.
Oh yes.
Well, all right. Well, no, wait a second. Let's kind of put a couple of the
deep
pieces
steak, like deep throat, only well done.
No, because no, I'm sorry. I was thinking steak. I like my steak well done. Anyway, so one of the other things that's alleged, and I'm kind of putting this in here because A, I need a couple of moments, and B, alcohol's starting to hit me, which is great.
Oh yeah, it's definitely lower.
That's definitely okay. So again, quoting from The Atlantic, Moore alleges that in Republican precincts in the county, now this is kind of making a little bit of callback from a little bit earlier, there was an unexplained drop-off in votes by people who checked off a straight party line vote for the GOP, the Republicans, but did not vote for Moore. Now, I want to kind of hit this one really quickly. The fact that a bunch of people voted straight line Republican across the board, but didn't tick your box, doesn't necessarily mean that there's a problem with the voting. It could just be maybe. Now you boyardied the whole bit. Thank you so very much. Yeah, I can't get away with saying the alcohol made me say it. Damn it.
Sorry.
Fine. You know what? Yeah, okay. Oh, fine. I'll get away with saying it. Good on you. You led the bit. Good job. You bitch. Thanks so much. Trying to make up for last week. Anyway, so
yes.
So now I'm bringing this one into the picture because this is not the only one where they've gone ahead and said there have been irregularities in the polling, because in these precincts, statistically, we should not be able to lose, which is, I believe the term that kind of goes along with this one is gerrymandering.
The thing is, a state like Alabama and a person like Roy Moore really has no right to say, statistically, we can't lose. I hearken back to the DNC.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the number 2 of the 1-2 punch. We've got the woman that's going to take over for the black man. There's statistically no way we could lose. 3 words, folks. Famous last words.
Except for that time when you lost.
Exactly.
60% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
And the other thing is, too, people are starting to wake up. Or at the very least, the people who were nothing more than a bunch of armchair bitchmongers, which is really hypocritical since I'm actually sitting here in an armchair. But my point is that a lot of the people who, I'm a Democrat and that should be enough. Well, no, it means that you have a responsibility to your party to actually get up off your corn-fed ass, go out and vote when the time comes. Well, that's how it used to be. You know, and I've made a habit of bitching about, is anything actually getting done down there, because I'm hearing a lot of screeching from all the sides, but I'm not seeing a lot of results. Well, this is one of the results. You know, you managed to put a game show host into the White House. Do you honestly think anything is going to be consistent anymore?
And not even a good game show host.
No.
Like, I would have preferred Bob Barker.
Why did that same name pop into my head? And then what you got to do is you got to get well, I know Rod Roddy's dead, but you got to get his successor.
Yes.
You know, to announce.
Yeah.
When President Barker comes, Bob Barker, come on down. You're the next contestant on Meet the Press.
Now, you're the next lobbyist admitted to the back room.
Oh God!
All right, so
okay,
let's
CPAC would have to go like 24/7 cameras on that just for fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God!
And you'd have to find like 2 or 3 more guys with the same voice just to keep it going like 24/7.
Yeah. Now, a couple of things I want to make sure that we're clear about. When Dalan is saying people are waking up, I know full well that there are plenty of conspiracy theory people who are just always yelling and screaming, you know, sheeple, wake up, and the whole thing. We're not going down that angle. It's much more a matter of people are waking up to the idea that they need to actually understand what's going on. They need to think about this stuff. They need to examine what the hell is going on. And that's the piece that we talk about. And I wanted to make sure that we're very clear that we're not looking at this as a conspiracy nutter type of thing. We're looking at it from the skeptical point of we need to collectively think about stuff far and away more often than we do. And this is something that Joseph has said how many times? Like almost every other show, and rightly so.
Yeah.
So that's why these complaints that Roy Moore put out were so crazy for me to look over, because he put in, again, quoting from the article, the word, quote, inexplicably appears throughout the complaint. And I'm not gonna quote from the article at this point or from the complaints, other than to say many a time they went ahead and they put in there that basically said this happened and this happened and this happened before, but this happened now. How could that have possibly happened? Obviously, there's only one possible way if something was wrong. And this is exactly what this whole damn thing came down to. That is exactly what an argument from ignorance is all about. Yeah. This has happened before, and this has happened, and this has happened. But now this has happened, and that doesn't match up with what happened before. How did it happen? I don't know, but there's only one way that I can think of, and that's explanation X. Or, you know, you could also have it as the argument from incredulity, or the argument from oh crap, what the hell is the other one? Personal. No, it is personal incredulity.
It's simpler than that. I mean, you know, he knows the game's rigged, and he's just complaining. It works so far. You know, they think they've got the deck stacked, and they don't know how it became unstacked.
Well, it's like
complacency.
It's like, you know, Trump bitching that, you know, the election was rigged, and then he won, and yet he was still bitching that the election was rigged.
There are no rules as long as it's working for me.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, it's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. So like, just you can insert any theory at all.
And the fact that
as long as it sounds scary
Trump
enough.
is an example of narcissism at its greatest level.
And Moore's not far off. He's just got an extra bit of loony on top of it.
Well,
and on an intellectual level, they're thinking at the same level as, I'm sorry, but kindergarten. students. Like, you know, it's like a bunch of kids playing in a circle with their toys,
Well,
and then somebody has the favorite toy, and the other one
yeah,
wants
it's
the
like,
favorite
I was
toy.
supposed to be the senator, not you. It's my turn to be senator.
My toys are huge.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about a Hess truck, no.
I'm thinking Bad Dragon.
Oh.
I
Oh. Yeah, and there's a horse
wait.
involved.
1
Oh.
point for Unrenowned Peck.
Oh, if Sassy shows up on that site. ugh.
No,
Sassy Dragon.
no, it's either going to be Chance or it's going to be Mary. Don't ask how I know this.
Heretic Woman
Yes.
and Shujin, you may not know this.
And I might.
I do have a friend in the local community here who is in contact with Nars, who is one of the major art contributors to that website,
Ah.
and who also knows a couple of the designers of said website.
Oh no.
Sassy.
So your question, Heretic Woman, could Sassy
Yes.
find her way onto that site? With a few emails, stuff
Yes.
could end up in motion.
Oh no.
Careful.
Oh shit.
The only thing that would differentiate Sassy from Mary would probably be a little cowboy hat up on top. I did.
Now, the thing is, what would also need to happen, I think, just to make this the icing on the cake.
I'm going to hell. I'm so going to hell.
You know what? Get in, pay your toll, and sit down. I'm driving. Yeah, work in transit. All right. Anyways, the only thing that would make this just all the sweeter is if we could somehow get okay. So we have Sassy at baddragon.com, personally endorsed by Cards Against Humanity.
Humanity. Oh shit. That's brutal.
And if you're wondering why I'm saying that, ladies and gentlemen,
Stephanie's telling you to go for it. So
You know, I'm not getting in the middle of this because I've got enough wine in me right now that I'm not going to trust myself to say yes or no. See, this is how you can tell that you're not drunk enough. When you can actually say, I shouldn't be answering this, you haven't drunk enough yet.
drink some more.
you're not. However,
Eh,
okay, I
Yeah.
did make Irish cream cookies this weekend, and I
mhm.
bought the big bottle, so there's lots left.
Uh-huh.
And I have a coffee maker,
There you go.
and I'm drinking beer.
So I think I
Here,
think
liquid bread.
Sassy would be characterized as a patch horse, I think, markings wise.
It's okay. It's not going to make a difference on the inside anyway. So here's
Yeah,
the thing.
okay, fair
With-
enough.
with somebody who is supposed to be a judge, especially a judge in legal matters, and yes, you can have judges in different things. I mean, let's face it, you know, there are judges for animal contests or for, well, game shows, as we had mentioned before. But when you're talking about in the legal framework, you're supposed to be able to try to figure out what's happening, what is being presented, what is real, what challenges go with or without, go with or against, I should say, legal precedent. You're supposed to be able to know these things and understand them and be able to sort through what's crap and what's real and what's germane and what's not. And this is what kills me about this whole damn thing. How can somebody who has at one point had such a high job as a judge, no matter what level, how can they put out a legal piece like this and say, I should get a do-over because of something that I know full well is not legally defensible? How can somebody actually defend themselves for something like this?
If you take into consideration the fact that he was fired from said job twice,
Yes.
for basically refusing to do what he was supposed to do. I don't know the circumstances specifically, but I can imagine someone said, no, the law says you're supposed to do X, and he said, yeah, well, I'm Roy Moore, so I'm going to do Y. And that was the end of that. Twice.
Yeah.
Like, why they would even hire him back the second time boggles my mind.
Well, all right.
but-
Well, wait a minute. Let's be fair. He wasn't hired back. He
It was
was
elected.
voted and elected, right?
Voted,
And
yes.
that's arguably even worse.
It is, actually. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna run for that job that I got fired from last time because I'm sure I could figure out how to do it properly the second time around. Not.
Yeah, and Bridget, you were starting to say.
I don't even know what to say. Just people down there just don't think. I mean, how can it get reelected?
Yeah, let me explain why I was kind of pegging you on this one. I can't believe I'm going to have to pull you out on this one. Mike Pence.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. It's not just re-election. These people who have these extreme viewpoints of these people over here are not good enough. These people over here need to die. These people over here should be shot in the head. These people, whatever. They're all over the place. They're not just in politics. They're in the media. They're in your schools. They're in everywhere you look. Okay, and you have to fight it by recognizing it and calling them out for their bullshit. The problem is you got a whole bunch of people buying the bullshit, and it doesn't help when some of these people are in influential positions, like at the Huffington Post. Okay, there is an editor there by the name of Emily McCombs. Right, she is her title is Parents Editorial Director at Huffington Post. She tweeted a couple days ago? Well, it's officially 2 days now, that her New Year's resolutions were to 1, cultivate female friendships, and 2, band together to kill all men. People all over Twitter are calling her out on this shit. Okay, and that's the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to make it like, no. We got snapshots. You go ahead and delete the post. We're going to keep calling you out on it, and we're going to make this thing live. Okay, it's the same thing with Trump. Whenever he said something really stupid, people called him out on it. Now, granted, he's already in the position of really big power, but hopefully we can prevent him from ever going back to it in the next election.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I know that Mike Pence was going to run for re-election in Indiana, and it was really iffy whether he could actually get reelected or not, because people were kind of frustrated with bringing negative attention to the state and some of the decisions he had made. I think that's one reason why he decided to run as VP. I think he was originally getting for a job as president. That's why he took on the governorship in Indiana in the first place.
You know what? Hold on.
I don't think he could be reelected in Indiana now, to be honest.
Yeah, before we get past that, kind of refresh some of us on some of these people. I know that we've talked about it on many an occasion, but just give a real quick recap, because the first one that I think of course, is the reassignment treatments. I forget
conversion therapy.
Conversion therapy, which is outlawed, thankfully,
for minors at least.
Yeah, which is turning people who are gay, supposedly turning them straight and using
pray the gay away,
or use torture,
like shock
punishment.
therapy.
Yes.
I've got a message out to anybody who's listening to this who is a minor and that is gay or part of the LGBTQ community. Learn martial arts, because eventually somebody who really hates people that associate with LGBTQ and are violent may come knocking. Okay, regardless of what age you're at, have some skill set, develop some base defense ability, because we don't know where this shit's going. And if you look at some of the other countries, it's not pretty.
Yeah. On top of that one, I will also say, if need be, put our phone number on speed dial if you need someone besides your local constabulary. We can't always be here 100% of the time and know how to help you, but sure as shit, I will do my damnedest to try and make sure that I can help you out.
And
anyway.
we live in multiple states. So, if somebody in Maryland's got a problem, or somebody in up near Pittsburgh's got a problem, well, I can't speak for Joey, but you get the idea. We could reach out and see if there's something in the area that some kind of group. Like, I'm familiar, there's groups on Reddit all the time that talk about people who are ex-Mormon or ex-Christian or ex-Jehovah's Witness who have been kicked out of their home. Where do they go? And there's all sorts of different groups in varying states that set up systems to help you get off your feet and back on your feet and off and kicking. I can't do a good analogy right now because I haven't had enough coffee, but basically to help you stand back up on your own.
Yeah.
Well, some other things that Pence did here was the wanting to have funerals for miscarriages and nieces who were 6 weeks old.
Wasn't that part of that Order 1337?
Yeah. And
I'll tell you what, how about this? We can go ahead and have the funeral when he pays for it.
It was also the RIFRA thing and having to walk that back because conventions were pulling out of here and people were threatening not to have tournaments here, and he cost the state millions and millions of dollars.
And I hope that the populace of Indiana will remember that if and when Pence is no longer VP and he decides that he wants to come back and take another run at governor. I don't know what the legality of that is. Is that something that he could do if he was done in the White House?
I think if he wanted to run a second term here, he could. I don't know that he would win, but
well, no. But I'm just wondering, like, is there a legality of it? Like, once you, like, he retired as governor or whatever, he left as governor. Or actually, no, he was voted out, wasn't he?
No.
Oh, okay, so he moved basically from governor to candidate for vice president. He is now vice president. Now, when he's done, is there something in the legal system that would prevent him from running for the governorship of Indiana in the future?
I don't think so.
Okay, just I think of term limits from the president. I just wonder, can you hop stations?
Yeah, he didn't have a term limit issue here, and since it's a different office, I don't think it would apply.
Oh no,
it's not in the succession.
Yeah, I wasn't so much meaning that. It was just that, like, if you're president for 2 consecutive terms, you can't be president anymore.
Right, you can't be VP either because that would be in succession. But I think as far as like a state government thing, that would be different.
Okay, so you can go back to it after you've been in the White House. So theoretically, Joe Biden could become governor of something else if he wanted to.
I suppose if he wanted to. I don't know why anyone would want to do that because it's a heck of a demotion. But
well, again, this is Pence we're talking about. When he no longer has the ability to mess with people, because I do honestly believe that what he was doing was a power trip. I think it had little to do with the good of the Indiana people, and more to do with hey, look what I can do to you, and you can't stop me. Total power trip. But in any event, if he does start sniffing around looking, I hope that the myopia of Indiana is not so bad as to they would actually seriously give him a chance.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I really don't understand the people here. I don't know what they would do.
Yeah, and if I would need to look it up a little bit better. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of trying to make sure that the Holy Crap Twitter account can accept direct messages from anybody. I had not thought to check that out, and believe it or not, my alcohol addled.
Whoa!
Wow! You're getting into the baritones there, buddy.
Yes, I actually had not thought about making sure that was actually set. So that anybody can get in contact with us.
I didn't know I didn't
Mama
think
saying
that was
bass, Daddy saying
possible.
tenor.
Well, I'm gonna see about that. But anyway, I would need to look it up. But I think it's possible for someone to be reelected as president of the U.S. after they have, if they've spent 2 terms as president.
They bugger off and then they come back.
They can't.
Yes. You can have more than 2 terms, just not in a row.
Not consecutive terms.
Exactly. So you can have 2 consecutive terms, take a term off, and then get voted back in again. So basically,
as president, are you sure?
Bill Clinton could be president again.
No.
You know what?
Bill Clinton couldn't run for president again.
No, he couldn't because of his health. It would kill him.
No,
he
couldn't. He couldn't run because of how much he weighs. I think that's what it's a matter of that. I don't know. I think I vaguely remember that as being a thing.
And he's
I don't know.
too old to chase interns any longer.
That's probably
and
the
other thing too is,
I know there was talk about changing that because people wanted him to run again, but he can't.
That's right.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. The 22nd Amendment actually limits to 2 terms, period. And that's because, what's his face? FDR.
Roosevelt, yeah.
Right. Okay, so yeah, he managed to get more than 2 terms. And then they ratified the Second Amendment to say, nope, bye-bye.
I don't understand that, honestly. Like, we have no term limit.
Would you really want 6 terms of Trump?
Can I step in here for a minute on the whole thing for Canada?
Do it.
Yeah, okay.
1993, Jean Chrétien of the Liberal Party is elected to the office of Prime Minister.
I'm sorry. I just have a hard time just when you mention his name. I just see his face in my. I can just see his thing waggling underneath like a turkey. I'm sorry. Go on.
I have walked beside him. I have shaken his hand. And by the way, he has a very weak handshake, just so you know.
Okay.
Well, he's kind of old.
I was in high school when I shook his hand.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, 1993, he was elected as prime minister, and the Liberal Party maintained for over 10 years.
Yeah.
From Jean Chrétien, who retired, then came Paul Martin, who was not elected, but who just took over.
Yeah.
Paul Martin went down in flames because of a sponsorship scandal that happened, which Chrétien allegedly knew nothing about, but yeah, right. Then came Stéphane Dion, who apparently knows absolutely nothing about video editing.
Or how to have a personality.
Well, I mean, he didn't exactly look at the role models he had at the time.
Yeah, the man is a walking wet noodle. I'm sorry.
My point is that when the Liberals were finally removed from office, and I can say that because they went from having quite an impressive majority in the House to 1 seat. They got blasted when Stephen Harper and the Conservative Party took over.
Yeah.
Now, flip side that, Stephen Harper runs for several years as prime minister.
12
years as prime minister. A little more Western centric because, well, he's from this town. He's from Calgary, which a lot of people in the East, their noses got way the hell out of joint because, you know, a lot of the leaders are not just from the East, but they're from the one province that always wants to separate from us.
Quebec, yes.
I'm choking. We're all choking on the irony collectively on that one.
Yes.
But the thing is, after a couple of terms, it becomes almost Shakespearean in terms of what happens.
Well, yeah, we always have whatever party's in power for a bunch of years, and then we get really super sick of them, and then we vote them out like crazy and get the other party.
But it's not just that. It becomes a whole thing of power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep.
You know.
But I just kind of expect that, I guess.
Well, yeah, but the thing is,
I think I have lower standards for my politicians.
No, I'm right with you. But the thing is, I've heard talk in circles of, amending so that you can get rid of term limits in the states. And I'm telling you right now, as a representative of a country that does not have it, don't.
Actually, I'm not in favor of term limits. I prefer it the way it is.
By the way, according to the term limits, well, a president, somebody can only be elected president for a total of 2 4-year terms. Vice presidents have unlimited 4-year terms. So somebody could be vice president an unlimited number of times, right?
Yeah, but they can't
So, hold on.
anything.
Because of that, so let's say Trump gets elected the second time around. So now he's served 8 years, okay?
Mhm.
After 8 years, Pence decides he's going to run for president with Trump as his VP.
Can't do that. And the reason why you can't do that is because the VP is in the line of succession. So if something happened to the POTUS, then VP would become POTUS, and that's why they cannot do that. But
you see, that's the thing. Becoming president by succession may happen to someone an unlimited number of times the way the Constitution is currently written. So if a president dies, resigns, or is removed from office via impeachment, via conviction, the VP can become a president. Unlimited number of times.
Wait.
And actually have somebody in office.
To being a VP again and have the next, it would be a scenario where Pence would have to bump off his president every 4 years so he could get to be president again.
But God, can you the movie rights to this?
You get the idea is that it could actually. A person can actually be president more than 2 terms, but they can only be voted in for 2 terms.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right. The third time would be a remaining whatever period of the 4 years the other president had.
Right.
So if they ended 3 years in because of impeachment or resigning, bad health, whatever the case might be,
that
VP only gets 1. Yeah, exactly.
Mike Pence, the Spinal Tap of American presidential history. Points if you get that reference.
Wow.
We are Spinal Tap.
What?
We're Spinal Tap.
And the president is the drummer.
Exactly. All 31 times.
Oh.
What I'm just saying is, statistically speaking, it's not going to have a president who serves, 40 20 years or something like that using this method.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, after 2 terms of that
properly, it could have been.
After 2 terms of that, I'd even believe Alex Jones that it was a conspiracy at that point.
Yes, I would start to wonder something too.
Oh, yeah. And they're lizard people that can regenerate after.
If Sony couldn't make that happen with the last Spider-Man movie that they had, nah, man, we're never going to go with that. No, this is not the wine talking. This is me as a Spider-Man kind of.
Doctor Who can do it.
Don't do that. All right, so.
Oh, a President Time Lord. Oh, that'd be horrible.
Well, there was, and he was a dick. Anyway. He was also James Bond at one time, so keep that in mind.
There you go.
No, it was Rassilon. Whatever. I'm leaving my geek cred on the sidewalk at this point. So this is me trying to keep my head together while right now I'm going back to college right about now, and I'm thinking back to the Stevie Wonder test, which is when you've had enough to drink, you close your eyes and you sway your head around a lot. And then wait, and then you open your eyes and you stop. And you wait to see how long does it take before your equilibrium actually comes back to center. And right now I'm under a second, so I'm still doing okay.
Anyway, I'd fail that every time, but that's because of blood thinners. But that's another story entirely.
And I have an inner ear disorder at the moment. So
you know what? Fuck the whole bunch.
I would fall over if I did that. Very naturally.
All right, so, okay. Now this is where it's going to get funny right about now, because we got about half an hour before we got to wrap up. Even though I'll go as far as to say tipsy, because I can feel it, and I can feel it messing with my head. And I believe it or not, this was intentional. Seriously, this was intentional for me to do this as kind of like a mental test to see how I would end up at the end of this all. Now, admittedly, wine does not have as much alcohol as a lot of other stuff. And admittedly, I'm drinking it over the course of
A couple hours.
hour and a half, because that is now. Okay, done.
Uh-oh.
That's it. Done. Shit. It's on my nose now. Thanks. So that's it. Okay, so 750 mils at whatever the hell it's supposed to be. 12? I don't even know. It doesn't even say on it. All I know is I'm not allowed to get pregnant with this. Okay, 12. There it is. 12 by volume. So now here's the thing. Admittedly, this is, grand scheme of things, not a lot of alcohol in my system, and it's not going to hit me probably until we're actually off the air. I mean, not in its entirety, but I've got enough in me right now that I can feel it, and I'm intentionally buzzing my head for exactly this reason. I still understand how to go looking at an argument to try to figure out where somebody is screwed up. At least I'm pretty sure. I know what a straw man argument is and how to recognize it. I know what cherry picking is. I know what a false dichotomy is. I know what the excluded middle is. I know what black and white is kind of the same thing. I know what is the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. I know the personal incredulity. And there's probably a whole bunch of them that I'm not going to go through bother reading them off at this point. And I am not a judge. I am not a professional. In any kind of aspect like that, I have not formally studied law or logic or philosophy. But the point of it is that Joey, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to hurt you later. There's something that's going on behind the scenes. We'll tell you about it. We'll never tell you guys what's going on anymore. I understand how this stuff is supposed to work. What you're supposed to do to argue with somebody. And sad to say, I think that I could still hold a one-on-one argument. Hell, on Facebook. And some of you guys in the group have seen some of the stuff that I've done on Facebook and seen some of the arguments that I've had. And, oh, baby, have some of that's been fun.
My popcorn consumption at home has increased thanks to that.
You're welcome. But I think that even I would still be able to figure these arguments that they tried to get this new election thing going. I could probably see straight through it. And I'm right now to a point where I would probably accidentally put my car key into my front door. And that would be a bad moment right there.
No, thanks. It's just flooded. I'll be okay.
Yeah. So how, you know what? Here's where I want to go with this to kind of finish this off the last half hour. How is it that so many people would have backed somebody who is that inept in the first place?
I'll take a stab at this one.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that, by the way, before you go ahead and do this one, since we've got about a little less than half an hour to go, I want to give everybody a stab at this one to kind of pull this together. Because as far as to a closing statement for me, I've got very little that I'm going to talk about.
Okay, so, I'll be quick. I know I talk too much on the show anyway. The interview with the lady that said it has to be a Republican.
Oh, God, I know which one you're talking about.
I'm paraphrasing. Something tells me she spoke for a large number of people. I honestly think that there is a slice of the population down there that would sooner have a Republican in that seat by any means necessary. And I think that's how the SSBS took off on this one.
It doesn't matter how nasty of a Republican, any low down, dirty piece of crap person they are.
You know,
They're not a Republican. They're
I
okay.
wonder what would have happened if that particular, if the Republican representative down there was and I'm going out the door with this, folks, so please bear with me. A non-binary, trans, lesbian, black, gay, gender queer, lizard person that had been convicted of molesting, raping, and eating several babies, but was still Republican.
And horses.
And horses, yeah.
Okay, you had me up until the point where I suddenly realized you're describing the 1980s TV serial V. You do realize this, right?
Oh shit, he is too.
But as long as they're Republican, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's where I'm going with it. I'm thinking that as long as there's an R in the brackets with their name on the TV.
Oh, and Joey's got a good point. And Jewish.
Oh, sorry.
Because one of our attorneys is a Jew.
Good point. Good point. Yeah.
Which no one can find, actually. Several news agencies have been trying to verify said Jewish attorney, and no one can find one.
That's because that person probably got wise and got the hell out of Dodge.
I think she made him up.
Yeah, yelling "Oy vey!"
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the fall on this one. I'm pretty sure there's at least one Jewish lawyer out there. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure there's at least one.
There is, but they couldn't find any in that part of Arkansas.
Yeah. Anyway. So finishing
well,
up.
Because they said that the Jewish population in Arkansas is pretty darn small, and they all literally know each other, and no one knows of any Jewish lawyers that had anything to do with Roy Moore.
That's right. The Jewish population is pretty small, unless you're including their nose. Finish off, Dalan. This is the alcohol talking.
Yeah, but that's that's really all I wanted to say was just that we saw the interview with the one lady who said, that the fact that Roy Moore was a suspected pedophile. What was the name?
Kellyanne Conway said it.
Oh, okay.
On one of the morning shows, yeah.
Yeah, but the point is that these people are willing to do anything so long as their party stays in power.
Yeah, she's like, because the news people were like, but he's been molesting teenagers and he was kicked out of a freaking shopping mall. And as somebody said, how creepy do you have to be banned from a shopping mall in Arkansas? Yeah. And her response was, well, we need the vote.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people in states like that think that way, which is why someone with that kind of reputation, or that's why they think they're able to get away with this kind of stuff, is because, I'm a Republican in a red state, therefore I can do no wrong.
Yeah. Because
the sheep will follow me. Well, and I think that's my thought. I went way too long with that.
That's okay. No, I think you're right. I think that their goals are more important than anything else, and their own interests. Like, to a lot of the people's, like, well, number one, the response was, well, those accusations are obviously fake, and there's a conspiracy to get rid of him, because he's a God-fearing Republican, and so they don't believe it. And the ones that think that maybe could have been convinced that there was something to the allegations, because how many people does it have to be before you decide, maybe there's something to this? They just were, well, but that was 30, 40 years ago, like we need a Republican. And they just didn't care. Did not care one little bit. So, and I don't understand that. Like, so many people down there are, well, my daddy was Republican and my granddaddy was Republican, so I'm a Republican. And I'm like, I've never voted for the same party twice in 2 consecutive elections. Like, I have zero party affiliation. I just care with, who's going to do the closest to what I think should happen.
Yeah. But up here, we also don't have a requirement to register as one or the other.
Yes. The only reason you would ever do that is if you wanted a direct vote for the leader of the party and ostensibly the prime minister. That would be the only reason why you would ever register. I've never registered with a party. My husband used to be a Conservative Party member, but he doesn't have anything to do. He was in with the Reformers. I know.
Yeah, okay. I'm not doing any more Air Force impressions tonight.
I know. Reform! I knew where you were going.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him? Yeah.
I think he's one of the 2 that's still alive.
Probably.
Anyways, so you actually can become a card-carrying member of a political party up here in Canada? I didn't know.
Yes, you can. So the way it works is if you want to go to the party, the caucus, the convention, which is where they pick the leader, you need to be a member of the party, and then you get to vote if you attend the leadership convention. Then you get to vote for the leader, and then ostensibly you have a vote directly towards who might be prime minister.
So I wonder,
unless you're NDP.
well, given that pot's going to be legal next year, I think I'm actually going to register myself or find a way to register as a member of the marijuana party.
But are they going to be around? Their mandate's been achieved.
It's only the beginning.
Okay. I want the rhinos to come back. Then I'll register as a rhino member. I've wanted to be a rhino since I was like 7 years old. And now we've confused all the Americans, I know.
No, that's okay. Down our side, Rhino stands for Republican in name only. For the people that say that they're Republican, but they vote however the hell they want to anyway.
Canadian rhinos once campaigned to harness sex as a natural resource. Like legitimately in a federal election. That was one of their campaign aims.
I now have to weigh the benefits of the marijuana party versus the rhino party.
Yes. And they even had a graph that said that people who have more sex are more productive. Therefore, we need to encourage people to have more sex as a natural resource to ensure productivity.
I think I like all of those words.
Yeah. I mean, subsidies. I can see the slogan now. Subsidies for Sibian. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Sibian didn't exist back then. That was 1984.
I don't care.
Remember, be careful when you access the Immigration to Canada website because it may crash from overuse.
Well, they haven't officially come back yet, people. But if they do, oh, mama.
Well, like you said, if the marijuana party has actually fulfilled its goals, well, we need something else.
There's the Pirate Party. I would join them.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, okay, WTMI here. Let's just say there's a certain effect I have that I get from weed, and the Rhino Party would be right up my alley for it. So
okay, there you go.
Yeah.
It perfectly legal if it's perfectly legal for you to talk about this stuff up there, and I think it's perfectly legal to talk about anything here. I mean, for the most part.
Put it this way: if I wasn't so concerned about the smell it would leave in this house afterwards, come 2018, I could theoretically be doing these shows while
legally toking.
Yeah, I could be high as a flippin' kite by the end of a show without the use of alcohol.
Dude, edibles.
Brownies. Yeah, this is my E621 face, folks.
All right, so let's leave you two aside for a little bit. And by the way, my Stevie Wonder factor is up to about 10 seconds right now. So
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, for those of you that are wondering, for those of you that have been watching, who are wondering what the hell I was doing just a little while ago, yeah, I was doing my own test to say, yeah, I'm about 10 seconds up at this point. So we'll see. So leaving the Canadian contingent, the actually living in Canada, leaving in.
Have some more wine.
I would love to, except for one small problem.
You're out.
God.
I'm
You
out.
said you had more in the kitchen, damn it.
I have more in the pantry, but it's in the pantry. It's not in the fridge. So
Oh, you need a retriever.
I don't have one. That's what I need a sex bot for. Anyway,
go.
so leaving the physical Canadians aside for a couple of moments here. Fuck y'all. Who else wants to go ahead and chime in for anything at this point? I mean, Joey, you've been exceedingly quiet. I know that usually means because you're just kind of sitting back and going, yeah, no, I got nothing. But
Partially that, partially I am exhausted. You got to remember, I had to stand outside the Walmart parking lot for 2 hours and freeze my ass off trying to get my van working again.
well, yeah, there is that. Well, if that's the case, I mean, if there's something that you want to finish off with and then just get the hell into, under blankets and such.
Boy, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. And, I'm telling you, and this is not the drunk talking because I'm not drunk. And, I would tell you this anyway. If you want to just say something, say your piece and just get the hell out, that's fine. I'd be more than happy to kick your ass out and just ban you from the group so you can get to sleep.
But it needs to be something profound.
Bullshit!
Yeah. And in case anybody who's listening,
that was
yeah,
that was perfect.
and just in case anybody who was listening from last week, you'll know exactly what he's talking about.
I know just the thing. Farewell, 2017. And fuck you, you will not be missed.
Mhm.
That's okay. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. By the way, Joey, since you didn't get the opportunity of seeing it, there it is.
Yep, that's exactly the one I thought it was.
Yeah. Sorry. For those of you that don't know, Joey and I last night we're talking about my grandpa's 12-gauge shotgun, which yes, it does still have the lock on the trigger. Right at the moment, I'm not entirely sure where the trigger key is. Bullshit, I know exactly where it is. I'm not that stupid. But yeah, there you go.
There's something to be said about a straight pull bolt.
Yes, for instance, the fact that you need vice grips in order to grab it every time you shoot. Being very careful about where it is. I don't want to hit the roof.
Easily work that action. Shut up. It's a proper term.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, this is the thing he used to keep.
Okay, considering what I had set out for the Second Amendment episode, I think we can, forgive you pulling out one antique.
It does qualify as an antique, doesn't it?
Actually, yes, it does technically qualify as relic and curio, though that usually only applies to weapons of warfare.
Well, technically, a weapon of warfare could be the bagpipes. So, I mean, I'm not going with you on this one.
Well, what I mean to say is there are certain firearms that are not permitted to the average citizen in the United States. But, for example, you can technically own a functioning fully automatic machine gun as long as it's of a certain age. At which point it becomes legal under the curio and relic clause.
Okay. Forgive me. I'm just looking over at the live chat.
We've got a troll in the place.
Oh, do we? I don't even have the live chat on.
No, that's okay. You know what? That's okay.
I'm curious now.
It's Jehovah's Dragon.
Yep.
How interesting.
He's apparently really into baby barbecues. But
Which is why I posted 3 cheese baby buzz. Because come on.
Yeah.
I kind of like.
Come on. Two's my man. Two the Griffin for that guy needs to be president.
Okay, you know what? As the head of this production, Jehovah's Witness, Jehovah's Dragon.
Jehovah's Dragon.
That was not the alcohol talking. That was that actual
Brain fart.
Yeah. Jehovah's Dragon. Assuming that you're actually watching right now, can I call you Dick? Okay, that's a callback, by the way. If you haven't been watching the rest of the show, you realize that this is not a bad thing that I'm doing. This, however, is about to be. Hey, asshole, you've got better things to do. As a matter of fact, we've got better things to do. So, shoo.
I will say. I will say.
Know there's no annihilation, dum dum. Come on.
I will say
I don't
this.
know why he mentioned flat earthers because there aren't any here.
Wait, Fluttershy? Oh, sorry, Flatter.
He said atheists and flat earthers can't handle reality or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's fine. You know what, Joey, go ahead.
Well, I'm just looking at one in particular. Let's see, the thing that he put up on Ezekiel 18, the soul that is sinning will die. I'd hate to tell you, but been there, done that. Still sinning, still here.
And I'm pretty sure that you've broken at least one of the Big Ten at some point or other, right?
Take your pick.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, I'll admit it. I've broken at least one of the Big Ten. So, you know what? Screw you. Go away. Do yourself a favor. Go away. You're not winning any. You're not winning any
Wake
prizes.
up, zombies! Repent, cowards! The kingdom of the baby killer is okay. Whatever. Enjoy.
I'm sorry. This is starting to sound a little too much like.
I'm
and
just
by the way,
confused as to what the hell he's going on about.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
I tell you.
Hold it. I'll tell you what it is, and then we're just going to move on. He's describing Ghostbusters 3. Moving on. Tech. What would you like to finish off with at this point with the whole damn thing? Because
Ghostbusters 3, really?
That's the best. Look, I know it was a PC game, but seriously, come on, it's the best I got right now. Because right now, my whole all right, here we go.
Oh, okay, you know what? The best I got right now is pork rinds, and they taste better than that.
Well, Dragon, old buddy. Technically, I've been declared dead twice.
It's true.
Yes.
And
you've been dead more times than Jesus.
He is double Jesus.
But guess what?
And he's better looking than Jesus.
A few years by, geologic terms, none of us will exist. It's called death, and it comes for all of us.
Life is a sexually transmitted disease that has 100% death rate.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And by the way, just so that we can go ahead and have an accurate number at this point, eyes closed and back and forth, back and forth.
And what is your favorite Bible verse from Ezekiel?
23:20.
Ezekiel 25:17.
Well, I'd quote it, but we might get NC-17 for that.
By the way,
isn't it amazing how violent the Bible really is?
Oh, they have cheeseburgers and what?
Well, the first episode of the Thinking Atheist I ever listened to was the one called The Bloody Bible.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Seth had me at hello after that.
Hey, did you listen to the other one he put out just a while back about Sunday school?
Not
Yes,
yet, but I've seen
that was awesome.
Oh, it's great.
It's on my to listen to list, which I'll probably do
You,
tomorrow.
you need to listen to it before the New Year's up. It's that good.
No, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that I'm not going to die. After all, technically, I've already done it twice.
Yeah, come on, buddy, get with the program.
But
I
my point is, we're all worm food. We're all dying right here and right now. From the
Yep.
moment you're born, guess what? You're dying.
Yep, he's smoking. I'm eating pork. We're screwed.
mean, he's like, "Oh, wait a few years, you're not gonna exist." I'm like, "Yeah, so what?"
You know what? Okay. Let me get to the rest of the hosts on this one. But Jehovah's, I'm going to ask you to stop talking for a moment. Stop typing, because my closing, even though I have this alcohol-addled brain right now, I'm going to go ahead and make my closing specifically for you. And I promise you, I will not be demeaning. I will not be mean. I will not use any profanity whatsoever. And I promise you, I will leave you with something worthwhile to think about. I promise you. I'm sorry, let me reword that. You have my word. Okay? These guys on the panel will know full well and will back me up on this. I can say till the cows come home, I promise. If I say you have my word, you should know full well that I am saying it as capital my, capital word. It is very rare for me to use that, because that is like a public pledge of honor on my part.
I haven't seen you break your word for the few times I've actually heard you make, that sort of promise. So yeah, my reasonable expectation is that if you say it again, it's not going to be broken.
So let me go ahead and get the rest of the co-hosts to finish up their things. Joseph,
but Joseph, go. I was actually going to close with something though. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll get you next. Joseph, if there's something that you wanted to close out with at this point, this is probably the best opportunity.
I'm fine. Yeah, nothing to plug. Do you guys all have a?
He was looking for a point, actually. Like, did you have a comment?
Yeah, final comment before we close out everything.
We haven't got to plugging yet.
one comment on everything we talked about.
Well,
I mean, just
paragraph.
Yeah, just to close out wherever your position on the whole damn thing would be at this point.
What thing specifically?
That's up to you to decide, man. I'm too drunk to figure out for you.
I'm jealous. Okay, that's my point.
All right then. Fine. Screw it on. Tech, go ahead.
All right. So if there's anybody who's actually listening to this program who is not an atheist, but considers themselves to be a good Christian and all that, I'm going to challenge you to do something. I challenge you in the new year of 2018 to go out, donate clothes, donate food, do acts of kindness and goodness, and not put it on Twitter or Facebook or MySpace or any social media platform. In fact, not even tell anybody. If you've got to file a tax return where, write off and all that other fun stuff, okay, fine, you got to tell the government for that stuff via paperwork. But don't tell any of your friends. If your family asks you what you're doing, fine, you can tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing, so on and so forth. It's a good lesson for the kids. But don't go telling your friends. Don't go telling your coworkers. Don't go telling strangers about it. Just go and do it. You want to be your quote-unquote good Christian? Well, guess what? That's how you do it. Don't go bragging about it. Just do it. That's all I got.
Okay. Bridget, I guess you get your opportunity to close. Oh, no, not quite. But your turn.
wish we could go back 20 or 30 years to the times when we had actual statesmen in politics who didn't have all of this baggage and all of bringing all this embarrassment to our country. I am horrified to be living here and call myself American, and it's only getting worse. And I hope 2018 is a lot better than 2017. I hope the midterms change things for us.
Wow,
And I just bummed everybody out.
No.
That's perfectly understandable. I got you over here. And Heretic Woman,
Yes.
you didn't actually have an official. You were kind of bumping back and forth with Dalan, so I guess I'll give you an official.
I think I pretty much said my piece.
I figured as much, but I figured I'd just make sure to give you an official.
Yeah, I just hope the rhinos come back so I can join them. That's all.
I'm pretty sure Dalan is pretty much on board on that one, considering everything that was said.
When we're done, Dalan, I have a video to show you.
Uh-oh.
Is this a legal video in the?
Yes.
You know what? I don't.
It was broadcast on public television in 1984.
In Norway. You know what? No, never mind. We'll come back to that later. Okay, that was a lot more funny in my own brain. All right, so I did say that Jehovah's Dragon. I did say that I was going to give you something, and I did give you my word, and I will uphold my word. Item number one. After looking at your profile, by the way, over on YouTube, and fair warning, I'm not going to turn on the screen sharing for that. Anybody that would like the opportunity to can take a look, of course, for themselves. I am under the impression that you are just here to troll us all, and you know what? Okay, that's fine. You know, it's you kind of go down in infamy along with Nephilim Free, who has also trolled us before. Who, if you don't know Nephilim Free, then you're really not the caliber of troll that we
If
desire.
he knows who true empiricism is, I'm pretty sure he knows who Nephi is.
Okay. So let me say this for you. And I'm saying this not as the alcohol-addled brain that I am, for you specifically, but it is for you. But I'm also going to put it out there for pretty much everybody else. We don't mind people coming over here who want to be trolls. Now, I'm not saying that you are, and I'm not saying that somebody else would be. I don't mind trolls. As a matter of fact, I find it funny. I find it fun. I find it entertaining because learning what it is that a troll is looking for, in particular, to me is fun. It's trying to figure out what the sizes and the design of each of the puzzle pieces are blind. You don't know what the size of the picture is going to be. You don't know how to put all the pieces together, but you get to learn what all of the pieces feel like. You know, it's kind of weird that way. Because every troll has their thing that they want to do, that they want to try to wheedle out, that they want to try to pull apart, kind of like pulling on a sweater. You know, for Will is there's one thread that you can pull that'll just take the whole damn thing apart. We don't have somebody's mic is got a ground loop on it. All right. Anyway,
I think it's tech. Yeah.
I know. Again.
All right. I don't have a problem with that. No, seriously, I really don't. Like I said, I find it humorous. I find it funny. But why? And I don't say that because I'm trying to say, you know, why would you even bother? No. It's much more a matter of why do what you do, knowing full well that the type of people that we are the ones who are going to go ahead and dissect what it is that you do and learn from it? I mean, I know full well that there is the whole, Master Bruce, why do some people want to watch the world burn? You know, I'm butchering the quote, but you get the idea. We know that there are people who want to watch the world burn. You know, we know that. And we see what you do, and we listen to what you do, and we know some of the quotes that you're putting out there from the Bible, and we already know a whole bunch of these different pieces. But really, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Is it just for fun? Dude, you can get yourself an account over a Bad Dragon and get yourself a whole bunch of stuff that you can fuck all you want and get all the entertainment that you want out of that. But really, going ahead and trying to have fun at our expense? Seriously, that's just laughable. You're not going to get a rile out of us. If anything, we're just going to look at this stuff and go, you don't know, you don't even know what you're talking about. I think that's what I enjoy the most about people who do what you do. I'm not saying that you are a troll. I'm saying what you're kind of doing is the kind of thing that we enjoy. Because we know full well that later some people are going to go ahead and go, well, wait a minute. They were talking about this account called Jehovah's Dragon on YouTube. Well, who is this? Who was this? What were they doing? What were they writing? And then they'll find out. And they'll investigate it. And they'll figure out. And when all is said and done, all you've done is allowed us to teach the people who listen to us to look at you, to look at what you've done, to learn from it. And later, they get to be smarter for the whole thing when it's all done. So, in all truthfulness, in all honesty, thank you. Thank you for being the shithead that gets to teach everybody else what to look forward to. Thank you for being the bad example that every school teacher is ethically not able to show off, but always wants to have to teach the rest of the class. Thank you for being the dummy that we all want to learn from. Oh, and one other thing. Again, in all truthfulness and all honesty, on behalf of all of us, and I say with no malice whatsoever, fuck off. As always, everyone, thank you very much for being with us tonight. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our positions and all of our perspectives and found something worthwhile to think about. Hopefully for tonight and for the rest of the year as it comes up. Let me go ahead and say goodnight for everybody. First off, I do need to say goodnight for Joey. He had to disappear because a little bit.
His eyes.
Yeah, a little bit on the cold side and everything. So, Joey, thank you very much for your time tonight. You have yourself a good night.
Stay warm, my friend.
Yep. Joseph.
Remember, napalm.
Yeah.
That'll keep you warm at night.
Yes, it will.
For all the cold places and light it on fire.
For the one night that'll keep you warm. Joseph, happy 2018. Happy New Year to you. And you take good care of yourself, man. Thanks for being with us tonight, Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
He keeps calling me sir. Well, yeah, I guess that's about right. Unreno Tech. Happy New Year. You take good care of yourself, man, and stay warm.
Yeah, we're doing fine. We have the heating set to a reasonable temperature, and then we have extra heavy duty blankets and things like that. So, even if for some reason, like magically all of a sudden all the electricity in the house would stop working, we still have enough ways to keep warm not to worry about it.
Fair enough.
But it's going to be interesting that come Monday, I think it is. I think it's Monday. Down here in Southern Maryland, we're supposed to reach 7 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's pretty damn cold.
At its lowest point.
Yikes.
And it's like, that's going to be fun. Because I have to be on the road that day.
Enjoy.
That means any wet spots I see, I'm going to instantly assume that's ice.
If you see any wet spots at 7 degrees Fahrenheit, yeah, I'm going to assume that's inside of your own car while you're spinning 960s. That's what I'm expecting.
You know what I mean. If you see a slick port,
I know.
For folks who don't know, when you're in an environment where it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, water freezes at that point down around this area.
I was going to say water freezes at 0 where I live.
0 Celsius.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And
32 Fahrenheit.
Yes.
Yeah, I just went looking for it. You were saying 7 Fahrenheit, minus 14 centigrade. So
okay,
there you go.
So there you go. So anybody who's listening who's actually in the U.S. who's not familiar with water and icy roads and such, whenever you're outside driving and the temperature is at that freezing point or below it, first off, assume anything that looks like it might be a wet spot on the bridge is ice. Same thing for the roads, but especially the bridges, because air travels above and below them and cools them even quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so drive slow, take your time, don't rush, because it's going to be me as one of the people on the roads out there. I know how to drive in this weather. Take it easy, and don't put my life in jeopardy. I'm going to try not to put yours in jeopardy.
Appreciate it, man. Take care of yourself and Happy New Year.
You too, guys.
Okay. Bridget, thank you, of course, for a great year. You take good care of yourself. Happy New Year. And
Happy New Year.
Plug your stuff.
You can find me on Facebook at Bridget Fitch. And you can also find my blog at bridgetfitch2112.wordpress.com.
Very cool, hon. Thank you very much. Heretic Woman.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you. And you take good care of yourself. Plug all of your things, and thank you so much for another year.
Oh, you're welcome. So first thing, on Tuesday, I impromptu ended up on the Sacrilege cast. For my 5th appearance on the Sacrilege cast. But that's the only time I've been on the second time I've been on by myself. The other times have been panel deals, but so that was cool. We just did that. And the reason we were there, decided to do that, was to talk about my new show that I launched just a week ago. Just a little over a week ago. I think I talked about it briefly when I was here last time, but that's called Full Quranic, and that's where I read the Quran, so you don't have to. And trust me, you don't want to read that shit on your own. And so I've got 6 episodes out. Taking a little break now because that was a lot of work. But I aim to put an episode out once a week. So that's at fullchronic.com. I am now on Google Play and Stitcher. Still awaiting for the iTunes approval, but hopefully that won't be too much longer. So you can find me Google Play and Stitcher or at fullchronic.com. And I have all the things. I have a Twitter at Full Chronic. I have a Facebook page for Full Chronic. I even have a Patreon. No patrons yet, but that's okay. It's only been a week. All of that.
Something tells me I've got to get some new links to put into the show notes again for you.
Do. And then, of course, there's always Beyond the Trailer Park, which is every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with me and the co-hosts. And I've been informed by Ms. Beth that she is going to interview me the new show tomorrow. So I am my own guest on my own show tomorrow. That should be interesting. So apparently she has questions for me. So that'll be fun.
How amazingly meta.
And at 10 o'clock this morning, so not too long from now, I will again be appearing on Atheist Talk Radio at Minnesota's AM 950. And again, to talk about Full Chronic. But truth be told, Hertzy got caught with no guest last minute. And I said, yay, I'll come and talk about my new show. But hey, why not? Minnesota is quite fun too, you know. And especially 10 o'clock in the morning during church hours for radio. But the bonus with radio is I can sit there in my robe and no one will be the wiser. So there is that.
That works out good.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Beyond the Trailer Park, Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, beyondthetrailerpark.com. You can find me on YouTube. We got the Twitters, and if you've been watching the scrolly across the top, I've actually added the Full Chronic stuff in there too. So, oh, there it's coming now, fullchronic.com.
And of course, as I mentioned, yeah, we'll make sure that all of the links are updated in the show notes, because you will give me all of the new links to make sure that they're in the show notes, won't you? Of course you will.
Sure.
I'm gonna do it with you.
Gee, that one's 0 to deadpan serious in 5.2 seconds.
Yeah, it's kind of what I do.
I got distracted. I was reading something in the side chat, and then I went, "Oh, he's still talking to me. Damn!" Like,
Anyway,
shit, I thought he moved on.
almost. So, Dalan, Happy New Year, man. Seriously, thank you many times over for all of what you do. Go ahead and plug everything, because you do more than enough.
Yeah, I was about to cryptically say, I'm glad I made it. I'm very glad I made it this year.
Yeah. By the way, just so everybody knows, I went to go ahead and pick the damn bottle up again, because I thought, maybe there's a couple of extra.
No, you drained that sucker like half an hour ago.
Worse than that, I picked it up and it was just like whip, because I forgot how there's nothing in it, and I forgot how lightweight it is at this point. I'm just like, oh shit! I almost lost that and threw it over my shoulder.
You know, if Trump could drain the swamp the way you drain that bottle, we'd actually like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Going on. Go ahead. Do your thing.
All right. So, like I said, glad to have made it this far. If the video thing is not your thing, if our combined mugs make you, want to cringe and run away in terror, you can always check out the audio portion of the show at holycrapthevlogcast.com. The site has more than just the podcast episodes. I make sure to update the links for everybody so that they all have their respective websites listed there, which means I'll also need the, actually I've got all the links, because I bookmarked the hell out of that show the second I saw it. I'll be sure to update that, as well as Shujin mentioned earlier tonight that talking about phone numbers and everything for people in trouble. There is a section on the site that houses all of the numbers that Shujin puts into the show descriptions every week. I made sure to capture that and put it up in its own special page. So we've got some growing resources there. And actually, I wouldn't mind doing a bit of a pod roll, if you will. Blogs have what they call blog rolls, where they kind of link other sites, if you know what I mean. If you like this blog, you might like this blog or this blog.
Right.
I think what I'd also like to do is I want to create a page to do a list of other podcasts or other shows that we are involved in individually or as other panelists. Of course, I'm going to be putting Beyond the Trailer Park in there, as well as Full Chronic. but I'd also like to include some of note. And yes, I am totally leading the bit on this because I've seen the stuff in the side chat. And with his permission, I'd love to include that one in there as well.
Cool.
So, Shujin, is it okay if I ask this, or do you want to do it?
Go for it.
Okay. TDTF, I see you're still in the chat there. I'd like to include a link to your podcast on our basically our links page. Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, by the way, knowing full well that there's about a 15-second delay before it gets back over to you and then a reply comes back. So we will go ahead and we will say we will add it unless you say otherwise.
You know what? I'm going to call it 5 seconds because he actually replied back saying sure.
Okay, you know what? 5 seconds, 15 seconds. I don't care. It's alcohol to me right now. I
Go
don't
drunk, Shujin, you're home, okay?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah. So yeah, holy. Yeah.
Oh, he says sure. There we go.
Yeah, I pimped the hell out of holycrapthevlogcast.com. And of course, if you want to, catch my ramblings about stuff that we don't typically talk about on the show, you can catch me over at inthewind.yo5.ca. And I'm also working on something else.
Ooh.
Actually, Shujin, I need to talk to you about it a little bit after the show. No, I just need some advice on a couple of things based on something you did. Let's just say this weekend or the past few days, I've been monkeying with some acoustics in this place. You know me, I'm an audio snob.
Mm.
It goes part and parcel with being the audio bitch. You want to make it as good as possible. And I did some testing this week, and shit sounded good. So I'm undertaking a bit of a personal project. I don't want to say too much about it right now because I don't want to jinx anything. But needless to say, I dusted off a few things. I started looking at a few things, and this time I am freaking going to make a go of it. I'm not calling it a resolution, but let's just call it something to shoot for. We'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. So, as always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. We hope that you really have enjoyed the hell out of everything. I'm going to go ahead and do something that's mostly visual, but partly audio. Dalan,
yeah.
Part of the reason why we were a little concerned about not having you last night is because we didn't get the chance to go back through the list.
Oh my God.
So
I forgot. Oh, dude.
we were okay. For those of you that don't know about this, Friday nights, Joey, Dalan, and I do a radio stream, and every year we go through what's called the list, which started a long time ago as a list of things that we are no longer allowed to say on the air.
And it was all my fault that I got started.
Well, sort of, but it's there's a number of things, and I'm gonna read off a couple of items that have since come off of the list over the last years, not because of anything other than I think that it might actually be kind of funny. But before I go ahead and do that, I do want to go ahead and thank everybody for being part of the show for the last year. As always, it is really, really an honor to be able to have a group that we have. Every once in a while, somebody will go ahead and say, I don't know if I'm really contributing. I don't know that I'm really worthwhile. You know what? I intentionally put together this ragtag fugitive fleet, so to speak, with the idea of it being kind of like the way that the Impossible Mission Force was put together. Everybody has something that makes them unique, that gives them a different piece to look at everything. And that's why I'm very honored, truly, every time, to have the people on the show that I do. Because everybody has a different area that they're from, geographically, politically, educationally. All of us have something that makes us unique. And for that, I'm ever so grateful that I've got. So for all of us in the group, all of the hosts, thank you seriously thank you. And for all of you that pay attention to us, who watch or who listen, on behalf of all of us, I do want you to have a good new year, a happy time. And even if you cannot spend the time with the people that you would like to, please, please always remember, it's okay to feel lonely, but don't ever think for a moment that you're alone. And this is one of those times where I have to remind myself of exactly the same thing. It's over 12 years since my wife is gone. And I still proudly wear her ring around my neck and still wear my ring around my finger. Because I am still in love. But with that out of the way, for you people, something to have a good laugh at the new year. Some items from our Friday list that have come off of our list of things that we're not allowed to say. And these are completely out of context. So if they make no sense, that's okay. If they make you laugh uproariously, great. If they make you go, wait, what? All the better. So let's see. And no, I'm not doing these in any particular order. I'm just kind of going through and I'm looking for items over here. Let's see. Monthly friend. That was. We'll start off kind of lightweight, accidentally.
I know that one.
Yep. Hardier than the fragile balls that birthed them.
Okay, just a second. Is monthly friend what I think it is?
Yes, it is.
Most likely,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, and this one actually came from George.
Oh, yes.
George. From George. For those of you that don't know who it is, the Geologic Podcast, which has nothing to do with rocks, although this one actually kind of does. Urethral force. You can figure it out from there. Let's see. This one is actually funny because it's kind of come back again. You can find sort of this on news feeds at this point in Facebook. If the pig snout fits.
Oh God.
Yep.
That one is so out of context. If that's the one that I think it is.
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think it had something to do with it was either one of the kinks of the week or it was a scary sex toy. It was one of those two.
Well, those have actually come back. Ask Dave Foda about. Oh no, you can't because he's in Facebook jail again. Fuck you, man. Again.
Although this time he says he actually deserved it, but that's another story.
That's because he's an asshole. Whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see. I love this one. Quote: I was in mid fucking gulp. No context whatsoever. Sorry, you don't get it. I like this one, which follows it up. Snatch like a snapdragon. Oh boy.
I don't want to know.
No, you don't.
Put it this way: if I had ever taken acid, right, the flashbacks right now would be freaking epic.
Yeah, that's true. Let me see. What's Oh yes, I remember this one. Wow, I remember this one from the top of the list almost. As a fellow cocksucker.
What?
Aaron motherfucking Cianci.
That's right. That's right.
Our
Ears feeder once upon a time ago.
Yeah, I'll put context on this one.
No.
I will only say this. I will be nice because I still respect the fuck out of that guy. And yes, we've that was my 2 now. Shujin mentioned that it was a Friday night show with himself, me, and Joey. Years ago, before that, years ago, when I joined the crew, we're talking 7 years on now, which blows me away. God, I think about how far I've come in those 7 years.
Go on.
Yeah. Anyways, the actual head of the show was a guy. He goes by the alias Aaron Cianci. And folks, the guy is gay as the day is long. And I'm pretty sure where that one came from is I had mentioned something about, because I used to do a segment called the What the Fuck News, or WTF News, because I love going after news of absolutely stupid things. And I don't mean politically charged. I don't mean, stuff that we kind of chuckle about and rip apart with the visceral accuracy of, a coyote on a deer. I'm talking stuff you can laugh about. And I'm pretty sure what he said there was in response to one of my articles. I couldn't tell you because that's going 5-6 years on, but I do remember that one because I could still hear his tone of voice when he said it.
Yeah, there's one or two that are left on this one. Prehensile nipples.
That was in response to yet another. That was in response to another WTF News segment I did, and I think Jinya popped that one up.
That could be
because that's so her.
Yeah, because there's another one over here that's quote Padu. Where do I attach it to again? Yeah, that would be her. Yeah, no, folks, just so you know, that is the second most common asked question in Second Life. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's not nearly what you think it is. And by the way, Jinya. Yeah. What can I say other than I miss you, my friend? I think this was one of hers also. I'm waiting for him to drop his bone on the entryway. Okay, context, possible pet owner. Yeah, out of context, possible other kind of pet owner.
Yeah,
could be. And I will go ahead and I will finish this off with the one that is number 1 on the list, and has remained number 1 on the list for several years now. God damn it, I'm dropping it. Since the inception of the list, and it was my fault. Yes, it was. By the way, one of these other pages over here is the one that's got all of my written down passwords. So, fuck you, I'm not showing it on camera. Number 1 on the list for years. And every once in a while, I will find this product on the store shelves, and I will take a picture or a video, and I will send it on Twitter over to Dalan just to piss him off. The one word that we still are not allowed to say on the Friday night show. Snowball.
Ew.
And the reason it's my fault is because at about that time, I had purchased the blue snowball for podcasting. Yes, you did, motherfucker. And Mr. Cianci, the one who is the fellow, as he said before, took that one completely out of context. No, he didn't.
I has a white snowball right here.
Yeah, so do I.
Well,
actually.
It's a blue snowball, but yes.
Yeah, I've got the same one.
If you've got a blue ball snowball, there's a whole bunch of things I don't want to talk about. I have a blue pig
sitting up here too. But
they actually do come in colors now. There's white, there's chrome, there's black.
So long as it's not yellow, I don't care.
I have if it's green, it's syphilis.
I have a green one. I've only got blue, yellow, and pink.
Pink should be the default color, but I'm sorry. Dalan, go ahead.
Yes, the snowball. I obviously don't use it anymore. I've got my handy dandy Yeti here, which seems to work quite well. But yeah, God, those were the days. Those were heady days. Back we used to do that. Back when that was actually where we came up with the whole, we are the morning zoo crew just at night. Well, yeah, that's my fault. Truth be told, I still use that every once in a while. Yeah, but it's true. And oh God, we had like 5 people, and then we'd bring on the occasional guest. I'm serious. And this was a show that was supposed to be mostly music, and it turned into this freaking free for all with a bunch of wannabe comics.
You know what?
But you know, there was one constant that we always did. There was one. Well, okay, two things. One, we always had a good time.
Yep.
And two, at least one point during the show, one of us,
Yep.
and this was the Russian roulette of the show.
Yep.
Would say something that would absolutely break all of us.
That's exactly right. Somebody sooner or later would just absolutely break, and that would be it.
You remember we had the winning of the internet. I remember this one. No, somebody in the audience could say something in Second Life open chat, and if it broke Aaron to the point where he couldn't speak, that person would actually get a cash prize for winning the internet.
Yeah.
That was few and far between.
Okay. But here's what I'll do. I will start adding that into the show notes, just because. And this may be the alcohol talking. I don't care, but an opportunity for everybody to go ahead and have a good time every once in a while. If you want to, tune in while we're doing it live because we don't record it, we'll do that. Sounds good. Good. You don't care? Fine. I don't care.
I'll throw it on the page.
It's not like you're gonna have much of a choice in the matter. I'm gonna be adding it anyway. Anyway, so everybody, thank you for sticking it out with us. I know this is a little bit of a longer episode than normal. We're about 2.5, give or take, at this point. But in all seriousness, I don't know. I'm not putting this on Dalan because I know full well that we don't have a hell of a lot of time before the New Year's. But no matter when you get this episode, God, I can't talk at this point. That's not the alcohol. This is just me being tired. No matter when you get this episode, that's better. In all truthfulness, on behalf of all of us, do have a safe year. Do have an enjoyable year. And do remember, we will be here. We will keep doing what we're doing as much as we can, as often as we can, because we don't do this just for us. We do it because of Cash.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cash told us, if you knew that you would have to spend $200, $300, maybe $700 on equipment, on a website, on hosting, but you knew that you would not get that money back, but you knew that you would save one person, that you would help one person, would it be worth it? Well then, motherfucker, why aren't you? It's because of Cash that I finally decided to actually do and invest what I've been able to. It's because of Cash that we're still here and we're doing our thing. Happy New Year, Cash. No matter where you are right now or what you're doing, thank you for helping all of us. So with that out of the way, we got to go because I need to get the last little bit of stuff put up into the thing before I pass out because I'm feeling it. But in truthfulness, this past year has sucked. This past year has had a lot going bad for it. We got through this. We'll get through the next one, and we'll be here for you. Don't worry about that. Until the next time we get together next week, as always. Oh, that did not sound good. Did you actually hear that?
You need sleep and a throat lozenge.
Anyway, until the next time we get together, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I have learned. I wish you well. And my lady, as always, 12 plus years on, I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you and I miss you. You dream of me. Until next week and the next time we get together, everyone, as always, good night.